Welcome, I'm Ethan Liu, and here's what happened this week. The government has indicted 7 individuals, including 1 Hong Kong resident, for their roles in an alleged Chinese spy ring.
中国确实对于我们的这个渗透作为是日趋严重了哈。那对于这些有关这些有接触机密的人，我们也都要加以进行查核。事实上，这个案子也是在我们内部进行这一个查核的时候，所发现的所以我们还是会不断的精进。
This case broke when the military looked into an officer surnamed Yang for suspicious activity that led to the discovery of an illegal spy ring and the prosecution of 2 active military personnel. Prosecutors say the ring received more than $350,000 to support the operation. It comes amid a surge in espionage cases in Taiwan, with 168 people prosecuted on espionage charges last year. That was double the previous year and 6 times the year before that. With a wider view on why the number of spy cases has gone up and what it would mean moving forward, our reporter Larry Siano spoke to KJ Xu, a judge with the Taipei District Court's National Security and Military Division.
Why do you think espionage case numbers have gone up in recent years?
So there are 2 main reasons. First, formal and informal cross-strait communication has sharply decreased recently. So the CCP relies more on covert information gathering. Second, China pieces together small bits of information to strengthen its lavish and gray zone pressure on Taiwan.
How do you think Taiwan can continue to strengthen its defenses against espionage and this type of Chinese infiltration?
First, encourage earlier internal reporting rather than creating fear through punishment by national security laws. People in the military must feel safe to speak it out. Second, provide incentive for reporting espionage. Many institutions lack counterintelligence unit, so reporting is very essential. Catching spies should be seen as a positive sign instead of a sign of poor discipline. It reflects more attempt infiltrations, not institution failure. Successful detection shows our system work and that Taiwan is becoming more resilient as this threat spreads across society. So we should encourage investigations across institutions, both in the military and the non-military. If we only blame instead of encourage, we will have more espionage activity in Taiwan. I think we should increasing a little bit for the sentence. And also for the criminal due process, we also needed some improvements of evidence. Like we need more collaborations with our allies from outside to sign kind of intelligence sharing MOU to strengthen our abilities and provide more solid evidence on the trial. We should balance between human rights protections and espionage regulations. If we do too less, that will make espionage activity increase. If we do more, it will become another authoritarian power.
That was KJ Xu, a judge from the Taipei District Court. China is building up its shadow navy, training civilian ships for use in the potential invasion of Taiwan. Our reporter Larry Siano has more.
Satellite images and ship transponders show 12 civilian vessels leaving ports in China's north, heading south for beaches in Guangdong province. These boats include ferries with ramps that could make it easier to roll vehicles onto beaches and cargo ships that can operate in shallow water without port facilities. Once there, they practice what a beach landing in a Taiwan invasion might look like, unloading military equipment, building temporary piers, and launching amphibious assault vehicles. China's shadow fleet is growing.
My guess is that they are trying to develop a kind of large number of the small amphibious landing ships, and during the wartime, they will conduct the multi-point small amphibious landing operations.
Exercises like these suggest that China is preparing for a land invasion as part of its plans for Taiwan, which it claims and has threatened to take by force. Although the ships are not naval vessels and not built for combat, they could play a vital role in ferrying material in an attack. These ships turn off their trackers to avoid detection, but satellite images show how this shadow navy is a growing threat to Taiwan's security.
They may not be in the assault echelon, but they would certainly be irreplaceable for hauling stuff. Getting onto the beach, getting the causeway pieces assembled, and getting them back off of the beach again in 3.5 hours is indicative of a lot of things. It would indicate they've done some training on this.
Taiwan's defense ministry declined to comment, saying the military will continue to closely monitor China's activities, assess its own effectiveness, and prepare through war games and live fire exercises. Since President Lai Ching-te took office last year, war games and military drills have increasingly taken a more realistic approach. Bayonet training and flashy testing have been phased out in favor of fighting off simulated beach landings. With the threat of China's shadow navy looming, Taiwan is going to have to work even harder to keep its shores safe. Andy Xue and Larry Ciano for TaiwanPlus.
Tech giant Google is deepening its roots in Taiwan with the new Taipei R&D Center, which opened Thursday. The company says the new cloud and AI hardware engineering hub is the largest outside the U.S. Reporter Chris Gorin was at the opening.
Here in Taipei's Shilin district, tech giant Google has just opened a new R&D center, cementing Taiwan's status as the company's largest AI hardware engineering hub outside the U.S. This is one of a growing number of Google facilities across Taiwan. Its executives say the new location in the capital will focus heavily on cloud and AI infrastructure development.
This new center is more than an office to us. To us, it represents an important pillar of Google's AI infrastructure engineering strategy. It's where our engineers, our supply chain experts, our world-leading partners, and our data center operations all come together.
Other guests at the opening include the U.S. representative to Taiwan, Raymond Green, and Taiwan President Lai Ching-te, who says the new office will bolster U.S.-Taiwan relations.
I'm confident that this center will help foster Taiwan-U.S. industrial exchanges and bolster Taiwan's economy. It will also give U.S. industry a trustworthy R&D and supply base in Asia.
Google is just the latest global tech heavyweight to expand its presence in Taiwan. Just a short drive from here, chipmaker NVIDIA is establishing its own new regional headquarters, while Amazon Web Services and AMD are also ramping up operations in the country. And with this new opening, Google is betting that Taiwan's engineering talent is just as important to the future of AI as its chips. Justin Wu, Ai Chi, and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
On Transgender Remembrance Day, a small group of people have gathered in Taipei to light candles for transgender victims of violence and abuse around the world. As Irene reports, for those here in Taiwan, it's also a reminder of transgender rights issues at home. This report contains references to violence and suicide, which may be distressing to some viewers.
A moment of reflection on this windy night in Taipei. People here showing support for hundreds of transgender people killed or who died from suicide due to confirmed or alleged anti-transgender campaigns around the world. One speaker here marking Transgender Remembrance Day chokes up when recounting the death of Sian Norquist, an African-American transgender man who went through countless forms of torture before New York authorities found his body this February. His death caught widespread attention, but not all have been remembered this way.
Grecia Sandoval, Rosario Sansone.
On this night, 372 names are called out, many from Latin America and South Asia, yet none of their deaths were reported by media. But they are now sparking discussion here in Taiwan. Some here say while Taiwan was the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage and is relatively LGBTQ+ friendly, violence against transgender people is often unreported or misreported, and there is no legal basis for prosecuting potential hate crimes.
比如说像南美洲，他们有所谓的 femicide 杀女罪，然后呢，跨性别女性如果遭到杀害的话，检方会以杀女罪起诉。而且我们可以看到，像哥伦比亚还有在巴西的部分州，他们还特别制定了说杀女罪之后，他们制定了杀跨女罪，叫 transfemicide。可是，在台湾，它可能会直接被视为是一般的谋杀案，甚至他可能跨性别身份也不会在报道中被看见，甚至他可能会被性别错称，就是被以他的法定性别来进行报道。
It means Taiwan has no official data on violence or murder cases involving transgender people. And because the law still requires psychological evaluations and surgery to remove reproductive organs before someone can change their gender on their ID, some victims end up being recorded under the wrong gender when cases are investigated.
我们现在看到的性别暴力，其中一环就是歧视。那这个歧视让他们很辛苦。好，那我们也看到说，因为要求要变性，那这个变性至少要100万，而且这个变性以后呢，可能它带来的伤害、健康的问题都是很大的问题。
This vigil has been held in Taiwan since 2014, and with each occasion, more sad stories come to light. But as people continue coming out to commemorate the victims, events like this offer many here some comfort and hope while they continue pushing for change. Howard Zhang and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Young bodybuilders are boosting Japan's struggling care sector as a creative business model brings in millions, attracts more talent, and enhances patient care. Aichi reports.
In Japan, young male bodybuilders are stepping up to ease labor shortages in the struggling care industry, taking on its physically demanding roles. With a tan and prominent biceps under a black sleeveless vest, care worker Yusui Takuya is among those who have built a rapport with patients at a care center for people with disabilities, operated by Visionary, a firm based in Nagoya. Yusui shares what he has learned on the job.
I've not taught you anything, right? Nothing.
Well, her hardworking attitude. As you can see, she can't quite use her hands, but she doesn't give up. She uses her mouth instead. That inventiveness and resourcefulness I find very inspiring. Hey, don't be so shy.
The company has attracted male bodybuilders with perks like paid gym time and protein shake subsidies. It hired 168 people last year after previously struggling to recruit even one care worker a year.
I started weight training while working as a military officer and participated in competitions. When I learned about Visionary, I was attracted to the idea of using weight training, which was my hobby, and my muscles in a way that could contribute to society.
With these employees putting the muscles to work, Visionary's revenue is now booming. Its CEO, Niwa Yusuke, says bodybuilders are suited to care work because they are used to hard training and strict diets, which can be a great advantage for caregivers who support the same clients every day.
Bodybuilders are extremely photogenic, cool, and the embodiment of tireless hard work.
With Japan's super-aged society, it's suffering from a labor shortage in the care industry, with nearly 4 vacancies for every job seeker. The Labor Ministry predicts a shortfall of 570,000 caregivers by 2040, driven by low wages that fail to match the physically demanding nature of the work. But the CEO says macho caregivers can help address this.
We need to become a more reliable industry, one where we can confidently say, leave caregiving to us. This would allow individuals to focus entirely on their work, learning, or pursuing other aspirations. Being able to clearly define and separate these roles is, in my opinion, essential for Japan's economic development.
In Japan, thousands of people leave their jobs every year to care for family, and even more are juggling work and caregiving at the same time. With men mostly absent from these roles, women take on the bulk of the responsibility. Now, the muscle care approach is stepping in, not just helping meet the demand, but also challenging the idea that caregiving is only women's work. Chris Ma and Aichi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, let's end with holiday pop-up bars with Mariah Carey bring festive sparkle to cities across the U.S. I'm Ethan. Take care and I'll see you next week.